Hi, I'm Nick and this is the TBT channel. If nothing else, I'm cheap. You'll know that I love a cheap air pistol, I love a cheap air rifle. When a bargain comes along, I have to test it. I know I've got some expensive toys in the toy box, but the cheap stuff kind of makes it all fun, keeps it real, if you will. Now, first of all, I'd like to apologise for being in the shade today. It's over 38 degrees Celsius, which if you're American is like, I don't know, 1,012,3. So I'm in the shade, avoiding the worst of the heat. I've got a nice bit of breeze coming up here, so I'm hoping we'll all be okay on that front. So my bargain for today, I've got past my 8-second thing to get past the bots. I went down to my gun shop, my favourite gun shop yesterday, Guns & Co, which I will actually mention in full, Guns & Co Armoury, just off the N10, half an hour north of Bordeaux, half an hour south of Angoulême. I'm going to put a link to them in this video today because he's given me a gun to show you. If you're in the UK, you are already familiar with this gun. It is available in several different guises, I believe, in the UK. I think Diana market it as one of theirs. SMK Sports Marketing, they import it into the UK as well, but it isn't generally available here in France. And it is badged up as a Snowpeak PR900 Gen2. Now, this box full with all the bits I'm going to show you is 195 euros. That's about 150 to 160 quid. And that's for a complete PCP air rifle, full power PCP air rifle, and you'll see here on the box with regulator. Now a regulated PCP is a thing of beauty if it works well, and that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look to see what actually is the crack with this rifle. If it works half as well as any PCP, it's going to be an absolute bargain. If it has decent accuracy, it's going to be quite astonishing. But we shall see. We will find out. That's what the purpose of this video is. I'm going to do a couple of videos on it. 1, 2, possibly 3. I don't know. We're going to have a look to see what's in the box, what the quality is like and what you can expect and what you get for your money. I'm obviously going to do some shooting with it. And what I think is, rather than do a long video with everything, I'm going to break it up into shorter bits. So this one will be what's in the box, what's it like. Then I'm going to do some shooting, and then I haven't told Roman this, I'm going to take it apart. I'm going to take it apart, show you how to take it apart, change the seals and put it back together. Because one of the scary things for newbies with a PCP is, well, what if it gets a leak? I'll tell you something, all PCPs get a leak eventually. Doesn't matter how expensive they are, you're relying on a 5p bit of nitrile to keep all the air in there. At some point, a bit of crud, a bit of dust will get in there. Oh, just go, nah, pff, and all the air will piddle out. That's just how this works. So being able to take your PCP apart, replace the seals and put it back together is a vital required skill, especially if you're going for, you don't want to spend 150, 160 pounds or 195 euros on an air rifle and then when it gets a leak have to send it away and spend another God knows how much getting it fixed again. It is a quick, simple job, and I will show you how to do that in another video. So let's get inside the box and see what we have in here. It's quite a nice box. Oh, we've got gump written on the back. Let's have a look at the gump written on the back before we open the box, actually. Now, this here in France are the specifications here. They will be different. If you're watching this in UK and you buy one of these, it will be different. But this is in 4.5 or 5.5 millimeter, 177 or 22. In 177, it claims around 900 feet a second. Now, I have actually already chronoed this gun. It was around 900 feet a second with Bisley mags, 177 Bisley mags. Can't remember the weight off the top of my head, but it was also above 900 feet a second with QYS pellets. So it claims 900, it provides more. That's a good thing. We have a 200cc air tank. I love Chinglish. If I ever mentioned I love Chinglish. Regulator, not a regulator. On the back it's called a regulator, and beside it, it says have in capitals. I'm going to bring that up. So I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I quite like that. Other arm, Nick, dopey. Regulator, have. It have regulator. Him have regulator. It has a magazine. 7 shots in 22, 9 shots in 177. It also has a single shot tray. I know this because I prefer single shot trays. That's what I used when I did my couple of chrono shots to check the power. Maximum pressure 20 MPa, which is 200 bar. No, it isn't 220 bar. Is it? No, it's 200 bar, isn't it? It's 200 bar. 20 MPa is 200 bar. Synthetic stock. Length 950 millimeters, width 55 millimeters, and height without the suppressor. Oh no, height 200 millimeters, and those measurements are without the suppressor. Whichever is one in here, we'll get to that. And the weight is 2.27 kilos. Characteristics, it is regulated, unfortunately not with a regulator, but it's regulated bolt action, 2-stage adjustable trigger, detachable suppressor, and a manual safety. There we are. Now it's time to open the box. Honestly, it's such a lot for your money. I have told you this story before, but I bought my first PCP air rifle, brand new, in about 1994 or 1995. It was when Falcon took over from Titan, and it was the FN19 in a beach stock single shot, because they were a single shot, non-regulated, and that was £325 back then for a new one. This is half of that, less than half of that, 30 years later. I loved that gun, I really did. I sold it because I saw a regulated Super 10 and thought, oh, regulate. I'm becoming obsessed with regulators now. I do apologise for that. So we've got a clamshell here. In fact, I'm going to pop that down there, safely out the way. Inside of the box, we have a magazine. We'll have a look how that fits in a minute. We'll look at the filling of it when we get to the shooting video. We have a small baggie with every O-ring you need, which we're going to do in another video. Every O-ring that you need to reseal this rifle, and a filling probe. We have the rifle itself here, and we have the screw-on moderator. So I'm just going to pop that there, pop that down there, get my little dinosaur shooting baggie and put him here. Now you will see I have my tags on here, and you will also see that this is the tag from the shop, from Guns & Co. Mark Snowflake Model PR900 PR900S in English, Nick. It says 5.5mm caliber. Roman, you got it wrong. It's a 177. I realised that yesterday when I got my 2.2 pellets out to test it over the chrono. Just so as you know, when I bring this back, in fact, I'm going to pull that tag off because it's wrong. But there you go, 195 euros. That was on the shelf at that price. If you are in France or the rest of the EU and you are watching this, Roman does do mail order. Very good prices. Got a good range actually of stuff, but very good prices. That's why I'm going to put a link below. All you people in the UK, this is the gun shop I go to most often. Feel free to have a look around there. Have a nose about, see what you think I should buy next. There's a big choice. So the gun, we have a textured, can you hear that? Textured synthetic stock. with no sharp pieces on the moulding. The reason I'm checking that is I bought a Bergerer carbon 2.2 rimfire a few weeks ago, and that was considerably more expensive than this, and it has had sharp bits all around the stock where it was joined together that I had to actually remove myself. This is a fraction of the price and doesn't have those. I'm impressed with that. The finish of the metalwork, it's blued, it looks fine. I can't see any imperfections or marks in it. We have 20 MPa max pressure written on the side of the tank. We have a suicide gauge, what I call, or we call a suicide gauge on the front there. Suicide gauge because you have to look down the barrel to see what the pressure is in the gun. The barrel is a semi-floating design. It's clamped up here. It's going to be floating for the rest of the way. So I think we can safely say there's a good chance we're not going to get the same long range accuracy out of this as we would an Anschutz or a Steyr, but it's less than 10% of the cost, so we're not going to worry too much about that. We're going to be testing this at air rifle ranges for point of rat. That is going to be what we're looking at. And on the front here we have, put my hands in front of the barrel, I know it's empty, but just to show, okay, and fire it. It's actually empty. There's no air in there ready for me to take it apart. Don't ask me why I did it all the wrong way round. It's complicated and it's hot. So we unscrew this part here. The thread on this gun is not 1/2 inch UNF. I do not know what it is. I will endeavour to find out, put it in the details, or mention it in the next video. But that goes on there, and then our moderator goes onto there, thusly. Now, the moderator itself makes a big difference. I have tested it just by listening to it, with and without the moderator. It does make a big difference. I will do decibel readings on the actual shooting video, but it's still quite compact, very light and very pointable, just as it is. And also I would like to mention that it has micro adjustable open sights. Now you may be thinking, who wants open sights? I love open sights. My eyesight isn't as good as it used to be, so I can't actually get much from it anymore, but it's still nice to use open sights. And it's nice to use open sights on a PCP because you can access the accuracy easier with a PCP because there's no recoil. It's a very lightweight gun, and just keeping it honest and simple as it is right now with its open sights. For, I don't know, depending on your eyesight, possibly 25 meters or up to 30 yards, you could still be quite accurate with this. And it would be I mean, this is so light, absolutely so light. So the stock is textured. It feels very nice. The safety catch is a push-through affair there. That's possibly my favourite kind of safety catch, because one of my first, what I would call my proper air rifles, was a Crossman 2200 Magnum back in the day, and that's where that was. And it was very easy. You'd have it pumped up ready, and then you could just click off the safety and go to the trigger. So that is a good thing. We've got 11mm dove rails there. As I mentioned here, we have a single shot tray. Now there's a little magnet on there that holds that single shot tray in place quite nicely. And looking at this, that means this magazine should go in like that. It does. It doesn't raise up very high. Some magazines are huge now. You know, you can get ones with like 50 shots or something daft like that. Who wants that? I don't want that. Do you want that? Comment below if you're one of the people that thinks a 50 shot magazine's a good idea. My CDO doesn't allow me to have a magazine that isn't full. That's why I prefer single shot trays. If I'm armed rambling, as my wife likes to call it, when I take a gun out shooting around the fields, if I fired off a shot from my magazine, I don't then carry on walking around with one shot out of my magazine. I have to take my magazine out and I have to take it back up to full before I can continue. 48, 50, I don't know, whatever those, some of them, I'm not going to mention the makes, but it's just getting silly. It's just like, well, my number's bigger than your number, but this will take 9, and that's nice. That is nice. Oh, it's empty, so it won't let me load. That's a good feature, okay, worth mentioning. Because the magazine's empty, it won't let me cock it. My Reximex Meta Plus, which you will have seen many videos on, I adore that gun. It doesn't have a double cock protection, but it does have protection from an empty last shot. I'll have to check when I get to the shooting one if this has protection from a double load. Yeah, I will have to check that. So that's your magazine there. That's your single tray there. That goes forward there, and let's just have a little play with the trigger, because it is 2-stage. You can see clearly there's your first stage, right? I haven't tweaked or adjusted anything. It does say it's adjustable. So taking up the first stage there, and then pull through, squeeze through. Small amount of creep at the beginning of it, then crisp. Let's try that again. I'm not concentrated on the trigger like this. This is the first for this. So first stage there, very, very definite stop. Maybe 0.5 millimeter of movement before the sear lets go. It's not light, it's not heavy. I would be happy with that as it is, but I am going to have a play with it, see if I can get rid of that creep. I don't mind a trigger that's not, I don't like light triggers, actually, quite the opposite. Not keen on the creep. I'll see if I can get rid of that creep within the adjustments that's available on there, and we will do that when we do the shooting video. So yes, I've waffled on for 12-13 minutes on this, I suppose. We're gonna wrap this one up here, but certainly what I can say from the couple of shots I took over the chrono yesterday, this performs well. Because it's regulated, I expect the UK version, the sub 12 foot-pound version, because this is a 16 foot-pound 20 joule gun, the 16 foot-pound version, no, the 12 foot-pound version, 16 joule, it's just a case of changing the regulator. So the shots should be every bit as good as they are on this model, just with more of them. And we will do our shot count when we do our shooting. We'll do a shot string over the chrono, get a full run up of how many shots we get at what feet per second over the chrono, and then we'll do some accuracy testing, and then I will take it apart and change the seals. In fact, I'm going to take it apart and change the seals next, because that's something I can do in the shade. It'll be a separate video. And then the weather's supposed to be back down to around 30, like high 20s, low 30s next week. So that should be cool enough for me to go out and actually go onto the range and do some shooting. But please like, subscribe, hit notifications, leave a comment below if you like the idea of testing cheap guns, because I do. Testing expensive guns is lovely, but cheap guns, I think, is where it's at. If you're in the market for getting into air rifle shooting, you might think, well, I do want a PCP, but because you've got all the other costs to go with it, for example, you need a pump of some sort of a dive bottle or a compressor. Go back and watch my compressor videos if you haven't seen those and you're considering one, because a compressor really makes life easier. I'm enjoying my one a lot. But you don't have to spend out too much money on getting the gun. But we will test whether it's worth it when we actually get to the meat of it and start putting some lead down the range and seeing what it's hitting, what groups we're getting. But until then, like, subscribe, hit notifications. Thank you so much for joining me on such a lovely warm day today, and I'll see you all again soon. Thank you, goodbye.